I just want to reiterate what has been said by everybody. And I want to underline the fact that everything that happened in Ashraf and Liberty, they are not secrets to the United Nations. We have planned very carefully the procedure of evicting the Ashrafis from their 26 years to a prison like which is Camp Liberty. In doing so, the United Nations, UNAMI in particular, knows exactly the consequences. But I could tell you that the consequences were premeditated. And the crimes that took place, particularly recently in Camp Liberty, were premeditated, and the person who should be held accountable is quite well known. You know that we drafted an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, which has not committed the United Nations to anything. Look at the 4 pages of the MOU. You don't find any single commitment to UNAMI or to the UNHCR. It's all a responsibility given to the government of Iraq. So from Article 1 till Article 7, the government of Iraq does this, does that. What does that mean? It means that we have given the Ashrafis right to the government of Iraq to do exactly as they were told by the Iranians, by the Tehran regime. Now that's what happened. We know that it was all built on lies and misleading. We know that lots of warnings were made that Camp Liberty is dangerous. And yet I was personally told that you have to try to be positive. Positive, it means approve and don't be an obstacle to the process of the United Nations. So there was a day I said, no, I cannot approve this. And then I assume you all know what happened. But now that I have been vindicated by the events, I want an investigation to be undertaken so that we hold those responsible of what happened accountable. I did warn them personally. And believe me, before I spoke publicly and openly, I did discreetly, confidentially warn about the procedure and about the process. It hasn't been taken seriously. Now we see the consequences, and we need an independent investigation in this situation. UNAMI, UNHCR know very well that there will be further attacks. And I ask, what are they doing to prevent a further attack? Here again, an independent investigation is necessary to point at the weaknesses of the system and to put in place some preventive measures that would protect. And in my experience, going back to Ashraf is the only real protection that Ashrafis could afford. Ashraf is a place Ashraf is a place what we refer to as safe haven, because Camp Liberty is not safe haven. Camp Liberty has been a trap, and we know what happened. Now, time to go back to Ashraf, and I thank you very much. Thank you.
We are on historic ground here, not only because the Geneva Conventions were born here, but also because the idea of promoting human rights, peace in Europe after World War II was born in Switzerland. When Winston Churchill came to Switzerland right after World War II, he said, we need a United States of Europe. And the result was the Council of Europe, the European Declaration of Human Rights, which later became the International Convention on Human Rights. And when we see now how these principles are being guarded by the highest official of United States, of United Nations in Iraq, it is quite horrifying. If rockets and bombs had been detonated in refugee camps in some of the European countries that we had seen some of this happen in London or Paris or Berlin or in Geneva, it would have been a major catastrophe. Now we see that the highest official of the United Nations is just saying, let's do business as usual. Let's just cooperate and find solutions. Let's forget about what happened. Let's forget about those 7 who died. It's a great shame. And we are watching now, right now, a big drama where it seems like the main actors are more or less in agreement of the purpose. Alternative one is killing of all the members of the PMOI. Alternative two is to split up the whole group into small groups, and therefore we should protest against that. So we have the main actors here in agreement, obviously. Martin Kobler, his wife, the German ambassador, Prime Minister Maliki, and today we had the very strong documentation from the leader of the Iraqi Hezbollah that he's in direct contact with Khamenei and that he takes instructions from Tehran. It's completely shocking, and it's strange to see the silence from the UNAMI leadership. We have not seen any protests on that, and I can just wonder, how can Mr. Martin Kobler just continue to demand cooperation and just do business as usual when we have a state of emergency? From my point of view, United Nations has to remove Martin Kobler from his position immediately. And then the German government should call home the German ambassador immediately because of misconduct in her service. It's probably much more than misconduct of service. And I'm very happy for the statements of former Governor Ed Randall on this, who reminded us so clearly about the guarantees given by the United States government. Defending crimes or closing your eyes for crimes or facilitating for crimes against humanity is absolutely under the mandate of the International Criminal Court. And I think both Mr. Kobler and the German ambassador, his wife, should know that all their actions or lack of actions are very well documented. And like many of the former speakers, I really hope for an investigation and prosecution. We have much, these things which has happened now in Iraq is much better documented than several of the cases that had been presented to the ICC tribunal, from my point of view. In the end, I would like to say that the United States carries a heavy responsibility. First, because US Air Force bombarded Camp Ashraf in accordance with an agreement with Iran in 2003, and 50 people were killed. This gives the US government a special responsibility. And later we got these various guarantees issued by the US government, and today the US government seems to have forgotten the guarantees, and they are negotiating concerning the sanctions. The US should rather think how they can make up for the errors in the past and have an immediate action